People say heartbreak feels like fire. For me, it felt like ice quiet, clean, and merciless. The night it happened didn't start with pain. It started with laughter, the hum of summer, and the smell of grilled corn drifting through the air. Mia, my best friend, was hosting her annual barbecue, the kind where everyone pretends life is easy and success is a given. I remember how I'd planned my outfit with care, a soft cream dress, gold hoops, hair tied back the way Adam liked. He'd said once that when I wore my hair up, I looked like I had my life together. I guess he didn't like that version of me much by the end. When we arrived, Adam's hand rested loosely at the small of my back. That simple touch used to mean something. It used to be grounding. Lately, it just felt like habit. The backyard buzzed with chatter and laughter. Fairy lights strung overhead, people clinking glasses. Mia handed me a drink, winking. You two look disgustingly coordinated, she said. Cream and navy Pinterest couple energy. I laughed, but Adam just smiled vaguely, scanning the crowd like he was searching for something or someone. Then she arrived. Emily. She stepped through the sliding doors with the kind of confidence that turned heads before she even spoke. Her hair was sleek, her perfume sharp, her smile magnetic. She wasn't from around here, you could tell from the city polish in her walk, the kind of woman who made ordinary people feel a little too aware of themselves. Mia leaned toward me. That's David's friend Emily, I think. Some marketing exec from the city. I nodded, pretending not to notice how Adam straightened his eyes, tracking her like a moth spotting flame. The introductions came fast. Someone waved Emily over, and within minutes she and Adam were laughing like old friends. I tried to stay composed, sipping my wine, forcing small talk with Mia about vacation plans, but my gaze kept flicking toward them. The way Adam's hand rested casually on the back of her chair, the way Emily's laughter filled the space like music that didn't need permission. When I finally joined the group, Emily turned to me with a dazzling smile. Oh, you must be Taylor Adams told me all about you. There was a beat of silence. I looked at him. All good things, I hope. Of course, Emily said tone light, but her eyes lingered on him for a fraction too long. The evening rolled on. I floated from one conversation to another, a polite ghost haunting my own relationship. Every few minutes, I caught snippets of their voices, his low, eager tone, her teasing replies. I tried to shake it off. He's just being friendly, I told myself. He always gets like this around new people. But then the moment came, the one that carved itself into my memory like glass. Adam and Emily were standing by the patio lights, surrounded by a small circle of people. Mia and I were nearby, laughing about something trivial, when I heard Emily say, You deserve someone who makes life exciting, not predictable. Adam grinned. Anywhere but here would be better, right? The laughter that followed was loud, brittle, echoing like a dare. And then he looked at me, not with guilt, not with apology, with detachment. A few people glanced my way. The laughter died out. The air turned heavy. Emily's smile faltered just slightly. Oh, come on, Adam, I was kidding. But he wasn't. He looked at me and said, You know it's true, Tess. You always like things safe. That single word landed like a slap. Safe. It meant boring, predictable, the opposite of her. I didn't speak. I didn't cry. I didn't scream or throw my drink in his face like the dramatic heroines in Mia's favorite TV dramas. I just stood there. Mia whispered, Taylor, are you okay? But my throat wouldn't open. I remember every sound around me. The soft crackle of the grill, someone's ice melting in a cup, the faint hum of a speaker playing an upbeat song that now felt unbearably wrong. Then Adam said the words that ended us. Maybe I just need a change. Emily froze. Everyone else turned away, embarrassed for him, or maybe for me. I placed my glass down on the wooden railing, slowly, carefully, like I might break something if I moved too fast. Yeah. You just got it, I said quietly. He blinked. What? I turned toward him, my voice calm and cold. That change you wanted. You just got it. And I walked out. No screaming, no scene, just the click of my heels against the deck, the sound of my own heartbeat roaring in my ears. Mia called after me, but I didn't stop. The summer air outside was thick, hot, and heavy, with the smell of smoke and betrayal. When I reached my car, my hands were shaking, but I kept my head high. I didn't cry on the drive home. The radio stayed off. The world outside blurred past in streaks of yellow and gray. When I stepped inside our house, the air still carried his scent leather and cedarwood. I stood in the doorway, staring at the couch where we used to fall asleep watching movies at the kitchen counter where he once danced me around for no reason. It all felt like a crime scene, and I was the witness left behind. I didn't pack much, just the essentials, clothes, passport, my laptop, and the photo albums I wasn't ready to burn. Then I sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the wall until dawn crept through the curtains. That's when it hit me. Not grief, not rage, something colder. The quiet certainty that I was done. I picked up my phone and sent one text Taylor. Don't come home tonight. I won't be here. Then I turned it off. For a long moment, I just listened to the silence pressing around me. It wasn't comforting. It was pure, endless clean. That night, something in me didn't break, it froze. Morning light has never felt so cruel. It crept into the house like an uninvited guest, laying bare the emptiness Adam left behind. His jacket was still draped over the chair. His mug sat in the sink. Our house wasn't a home anymore. It was a museum of everything I'd failed to see dying. I didn't cry, not once. Instead, I moved on autopilot, packing my life in quiet, deliberate motions. A suitcase, a duffel bag, my documents, a few photographs. Every item I folded was a confession. You stayed too long. By 8 a.m., I was gone. Mia's apartment was a modest place above a florist, smelling faintly of jasmine and dust. She opened the door in her pajamas, eyes wide. Oh my God, Tess, come in, come in. I smiled, or tried to. I didn't know where else to go. Her expression softened. You don't have to explain. She pulled me into a hug so tight I could barely breathe. Stay as long as you need. My couch, my wine, my questionable taste in TV, all yours. I nodded, grateful but distant. My heart felt vacuum sealed. That first week was a blur. I went to work, came back, showered, stared at the ceiling. People kept asking if I was okay. I said I'm fine. What I really meant was, I'm empty and it's peaceful. Mia tried to coax emotion out of me. You don't have to be strong, you know, she said one night, pouring us both a glass of wine. I'm not strong, I answered, tracing the rim of the glass. I'm just done. She frowned. You loved him for years, Tess. You can't just switch it off. Maybe love isn't the switch, I said quietly. Maybe it's the silence after it's turned off. She didn't understand, and I didn't blame her. Silence had become my armor. On the third night, I sat alone in the guest room, scrolling through old photos on my phone. Us at the lake house. Us at my parents' anniversary dinner. Us on that trip to Thailand where he held my hand during turbulence and said, You make the chaos worth it. I deleted them all, every picture, every memory. Then I logged into our shared bank account. We'd always promised transparency. Half the money was mine, so I took it cleanly, quietly. I changed my passwords, redirected my paychecks, and transferred my savings. I didn't do it for revenge. I did it to breathe without owing anyone air. When Mia came home later, I was cooking pasta, too much garlic, the smell filling the tiny kitchen. She blinked, surprised. You're cooking? I shrugged. My body got tired of waiting for my heart to catch up. She laughed a little. It was the first sound that felt almost normal. The days stretched into a strange rhythm. Work, run, read, sleep. I didn't stalk his social media. I didn't ask mutual friends about him. I didn't need to. The quiet told me everything he hadn't called, hadn't texted. He'd chosen silence too, only his was cowardly. Mine was deliberate. But silence can be loud when you're not ready to hear it. Every night, lying in Mia's spare room, I'd replay the moment from the barbecue. The way he'd said, You always like things safe. The crowd's uneasy laughter. My calm exit. I should have felt humiliated. Instead, I felt powerful, because for once I hadn't begged, hadn't broken, hadn't let him see me shatter. I'd walked away with dignity, and that I realized was a kind of revenge. A week later, Mia came home breathless, her phone in her hand. You won't believe what I heard. I looked up from my laptop. Should I sit down for this? Adam, she said, dragging out the word like it was poison. He's been seeing that Emily woman. You know Miss Perfect from the barbecue. And get this, she's bragging about their spontaneous connection on Instagram, posting pictures in front of some fancy hotel. I felt nothing, no sting, no ache, just mild curiosity, like watching strangers ruin their own lives from a distance. Mia waited for a reaction, but when I stayed quiet, she muttered, You're either made of steel or totally broken. Neither, I said. I just stopped volunteering to be the villain in someone else's story. That night, as I lay in bed, I noticed something strange. The silence that once suffocated me had changed. It wasn't empty anymore, it was clean, like someone had swept out the noise, leaving space for something new, something mine. I realized then that I didn't want revenge. I wanted distance, Real, irreversible distance. The kind you don't come back from. So I turned off my phone completely. No social media, no distractions, no ghost of him lurking in notifications. The world outside went on loud, chaotic, messy. But inside my small borrowed room, the quiet became beautiful. Each breath felt like a reclamation. Each morning, like proof that I didn't need his apology or his chaos or his charm. He took my love for granted. I'd repay him with silence. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday afternoon, heavy with rain, Mia burst through the apartment door like she'd just witnessed a crime. Her hair was soaked, her eyes wild. "You are not going to believe this," she said, dropping her tote on the floor. I didn't look up from my laptop. "Adam's engaged already." She blinked. "How did you know? Wait. That's not it. It's worse. Way worse." I sighed, saving my spreadsheet. "Go on then. Ruin my peace." Mia flopped onto the couch, catching her breath like she'd just run a marathon powered by gossip. "So Emily, Emily turns out her big city lifestyle is faker than a reality show. She's not a marketing exec. She's an assistant who got fired months ago. And Adam, get this, he quit his job last week. They were planning to move in together, except..." She paused dramatically. "Her ex found out." I raised an eyebrow. "Ex, her real boyfriend," Mia said. "A guy in the city. Apparently he followed her here last weekend, walked straight into that fancy hotel where she and Adam were staying, and exposed everything in the lobby." I blinked. "In public?" "Oh, it was a spectacle," Mia said, half horrified, half gleeful. "He shouted about how she'd been lying for months, draining his money, pretending to be some socialite. She threw a drink at him, he threw one back, and..." I held up a hand. "Spare me the cinematic details." Mia exhaled. "Long story short, Adam's unemployed, Emily's back in the city, licking her wounds, and your ex is officially that guy. The one everyone's whispering about." I leaned back in my chair, silent for a long moment. The rain outside drummed against the window. Mia waited. "Taylor, come on, you have to feel something." I looked at her, my voice steady. "I do. I feel confirmation." She frowned. "Of what?" "That I made the right choice walking away before the explosion." Mia blinked. "That's it. No satisfaction, no karma dance." I smiled faintly. "No, I don't need to celebrate someone else's destruction to know I'm safe from it." Mia stared at me, like I'd started speaking a language she didn't understand. "You're scary sometimes, you know that. I'm learning from this," best I said, and she snorted, rolling her eyes. That night, after she'd gone to bed, I sat alone in the living room, the soft hum of the refrigerator, the only sound. I thought about Adam and Emily, two people who built castles out of pretense and quicksand. They wanted to live fast, laugh loud, feel something, even if it meant burning everything in the process. I used to envy people like that. Now I just saw them for what they were, addicted to chaos, because silence terrified them. I poured myself a glass of wine and stared at the city lights beyond the rain-slick window. The glass trembled faintly in my hand when my phone lit up on the table. Unknown number. The message preview read, "Taylor, please. Can we talk?" I didn't open it, didn't even unlock the screen. A few minutes later, another one. "You're ignoring me fine. I just wanted to explain." Then another. "Emily lied to me. She used me. You were right about everything. Please answer." I set the phone face down. By morning, there were 10 unread messages. By evening, 20. Some were pleading, some defensive, some laced with guilt. "I made a mistake. I was drunk. You're being unfair. You know I still love you." I deleted them all, blocked the number. 2 days later, a new one appeared. Another unknown number. "Remember our cabin trip? When it snowed and we stayed in bed for 2 days, I keep thinking about that. About you." I read it once, then deleted it too. Every message was like a fishing line cast from the wreckage of his own making, hoping to hook me again. But I wasn't a catch anymore. I was the ocean, vast, quiet, untouchable. On Friday, I came home to find Mia on the couch, scrolling through her phone, a look of disbelief plastered on her face. "Oh my God," she said. "He's still trying. He texted me Tess, said he just wants to make things right. Should I tell him to rot?" I smiled faintly. "No, just tell him I wish him peace." Mia's mouth fell open. "Peace, girl, you're either enlightened or possessed." "Maybe both," I said, hanging my coat. "Either way, I'm not interested in repeating a lesson I already learned." Later that night, while brushing my hair, I caught my reflection in the mirror. There were faint shadows under my eyes, but my face looked calm, grounded. I realized I hadn't checked my phone all day. Not once. It hit me then. This was power. Not revenge, not righteousness. just the quiet knowledge that I no longer needed closure from someone who never offered honesty. By the weekend, word had spread through our friend group. Adam had been dropped from his company's project list. Emily had left town. He was living temporarily in a friend's basement trying to figure things out. When Mia told me, I just nodded. Actions have echoes. His are catching up. She shook her head, half admiring, half unsettled. You're handling this like a CEO firing her emotions. Emotions make terrible employees, I said. They never know when to stop working. She laughed softly, but I could see the respect in her eyes. That night, as I lay in bed, I scrolled through my contact list one last time. His name was still there, Adam. I stared at it for a long moment, then pressed delete contact. A simple click, but it felt like a thunderclap in my chest. The silence that followed wasn't empty, it was sacred. He was unraveling, and I was finally still. By the time Adam showed up in person, I'd almost forgotten what his voice sounded like. Almost. It was a quiet Thursday evening, the kind that smelled like rain and second chances no one asked for. I was leaving the gym, my body aching, but my mind blissfully clear when I heard it. Taylor. That voice sharp, breathless, trembling. I turned. He was standing under the flickering parking lot light, soaked through from the drizzle. His once styled hair clung to his forehead, his clothes wrinkled and damp. He looked smaller somehow, like someone had drained the arrogance right out of him. He was wearing my old gray hoodie, the one I'd left behind when I moved out. Taylor, please, can we talk? His voice cracked halfway through. I didn't move, didn't speak. Just looked at him, the man who once called me safe, like it was an insult. When I finally spoke, my tone was calm. How did you find me? Mia, he said, eyes darting. I begged her. She didn't want to, but Tess, I had to see you. My lips twitched. Desperation suits you better than arrogance. He flinched, but didn't argue. I know I don't deserve to be here. Please let me explain. Explain what I asked. How boredom made you cruel. He ran a hand through his wet hair. No. How stupid I was. How blind. Emily, she lied to me about everything. About who she was, what she did. She used me, Tess. The moment her ex confronted us, she turned on me, called me pathetic, said I was her charity project. I crossed my arms, rein starting to dot my shoulders. Sounds familiar. He blinked. What? That's what you called me, Adam. Not in words, but in tone. Like loving me was a favor you were tired of giving. Tess, no. That's not. He stopped himself, swallowing hard. You don't know how much I regret that night. I was drunk, stupid, trying to impress people who don't matter. You were the only person who ever did. I tilted my head, and yet you humiliated me to impress them. The words hung in the air, heavy and sharp. His eyes filled with something between shame and panic. I lost everything, Tess. My job, my reputation, her God, her betrayal wrecked me. Everyone knows what happened. They look at me like I'm trash. I studied him. You didn't lose everything. You gave it away. He took a step closer, his voice trembling. Please, just please don't hate me. I can't stand knowing I hurt you like that. We can fix this. I'll go to therapy. No. My voice was soft, but it cut through his plea like a blade. He froze. I took a breath. You keep saying we. There's no we anymore, Adam. There hasn't been since the night you looked me in the eye and called me safe, like stability was some kind of failure. He shook his head, voice cracking. I didn't mean it, Tess. I was God. I was jealous of you. You always knew who you were. I was the one who didn't. That's not jealousy, I said evenly. That's cowardice. The rain started coming down harder, streaking across his face, mixing with the tears he wouldn't admit to. He reached out, fingers trembling. I love you. I never stopped. Please just say something. Anything. I looked at the hand that once felt like home. It didn't anymore. It felt foreign. Cold. Heavy with everything he'd broken. Adam, I said quietly. The woman who loved you died that night. You killed her when you chose an audience over her heart. His eyes widened, panic blooming like wildfire. No, Tess, don't say that. You don't mean it. I do, I said simply. You taught me something valuable, though. He blinked, desperate. What? That silence is the loudest answer you can give someone who never listened. For a moment, the only sound was rain hitting pavement. He looked at me like I'd just stabbed him, but there was no satisfaction in it, only truth. He took another shaky step closer. We can start over. Please. I'll do anything. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I held up a hand. Adam, stop. He froze mid-sentence, breath ragged. There is no starting over, I said. Not for us. You burned the bridge, then danced in the ashes. I'm not rebuilding what was never meant to last. He dropped his gaze, voice breaking. Then what am I supposed to do? Learn, I said softly. Sit with the silence. It'll teach you more than my forgiveness ever could. For a moment, we just stood there, two strangers in the same storm, connected only by what we'd destroyed. He whispered, "You've changed." I nodded. "You called me cold. You were right." A pause. Then quietly, "And I've never felt warmer." He looked shattered, not angry, not cruel, just small. "I'm sorry," he said, barely audible, "for everything." I stepped back, the rain between us now a curtain. "Then let this be your closure. Mine already came." I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard a choked sob, the kind that comes from somewhere deep where pride used to live. But I didn't stop, didn't look back. My steps were steady, my breathing calm. By the time I reached my car, I felt it again, that strange, familiar peace. As I started the engine, my phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. Please don't hate me. I stared at it, then pressed block. The screen went dark. He called me cold. He was right. And I've never felt warmer. It's strange how peace doesn't arrive with fanfare. There's no cinematic sunrise, no thunderous epiphany. It just seeps in quietly the way morning light softens the edges of a long night. It's been 6 months since that night in the rain. I still live in Mia's apartment, though the guest room slowly became mine, a new plant. In the corner, my books on the shelf, my shoes by the door. I told myself I'd find a new place soon, but maybe part of me liked the simplicity of borrowed space. Nothing in this apartment reminded me of him. Work got better. I was promoted not because of sympathy or timing, but because I finally started showing up for myself instead of waiting for someone to notice me. The mornings became rituals, black coffee, soft music, and the steady rhythm of a woman building her own life. Sometimes I'd pass places that used to belong to us, the cafe with the burnt espresso, the bookstore where he once bought me that poetry collection and never read a single line from it. The memories would flicker, but they didn't sting anymore. They were just old stories. Mia noticed. "You're different," she said one evening, twirling spaghetti on her fork. "Calmer, like you finally exhaled after holding your breath for years." I smiled. Maybe I did. She grinned. "So no more texts from he who shall not be named?" "None that I see," I said. She laughed. "You blocked him, didn't you?" "Not exactly." I set down my fork. I muted him. She blinked. "Wait, what?" I shrugged. I never deleted the last number he used. I just never opened it. I wanted to see if silence could teach him something. Mia groaned, half impressed, half horrified. "You're ice cold." I smiled faintly. "No, just finally at room temperature." A few weeks later, a letter arrived. An actual letter cream envelope, no return address, my name written in looping cursive. I almost threw it out, assuming it was another wedding invitation from someone's Instagram perfect life. But something about the handwriting felt familiar. I opened it. "Taylor, you don't know me well, though I imagine my name still stings. My therapist said I should write letters to people I've wronged, not to ask for forgiveness, but to understand the damage I caused. So here it is. I'm sorry. Truly. What I did to you wasn't about you. It was about me, about needing to be wanted, admired, envied. Adam was just the mirror I used to convince myself I was still someone worth looking at. When it all fell apart, I thought I'd lost him. But what I really lost was the illusion of control. I've been in therapy for months now. Your silence haunted me more than any confrontation could have. It made me face myself. I don't expect a reply. I just wanted you to know that your quiet hurt changed something in both of us. Emily." I read it twice, then once more slower this time. Not out of anger, not even curiosity, but because for the first time I realized my silence hadn't just ended something, it had transformed it. Emily's words weren't redemption, they were reflection. And maybe that was the real power of walking away. That night I sat by the window with a cup of tea, watching the rain trace lines across the glass. The city outside was alive, strangers, laughing, lights, flickering cars, rushing somewhere important. For the first time in a long while, I felt content not rushing anywhere. I took the letter, folded it neatly, and fed it to the candle flame on the windowsill. The paper curled, blackened, and vanished into smoke. Peace doesn't announce itself, it whispers. It says you survived, you grew, you let go. Later, as I got ready for bed, my phone buzzed once. An unknown number again. I stared at the screen, no name, no message preview, just the glow of possibility. I didn't open it, didn't need to, because I knew exactly what it would say. And more importantly, I knew exactly who I'd become. I smiled, set the phone face down, and turned off the light. The world outside kept spinning. And somewhere in that quiet, I finally understood sometimes the most powerful